Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Well, so last class we discussed about water requirement of the crop, and also we need to know the calculation of the depth of irrigation water requirement. How we can the amount of depth we can choose so that we can irrigate the crop to meet the water requirement of the crop. So as you discuss this figure, you see the field capacity and wilting point. The difference water content from field capacity and wilting point is known as available water. At field capacity, 100% water available for the crop uptake. At permanent wilting point, 0% water available for crop uptake. So difference water between field capacity and wilting point, this is the available water for the crop uptake. And we need to irrigate a point between field capacity and wilting point. We should not wait till the wilting point. If you wait, there is a loss in crop yield. To have the optimum crop yield, we need to apply water at certain points in between field capacity and wilting point before the stress appears. And at the point that most critical soil water level, when the soil water available for the soil for the crop uptake exactly at meeting the evapotranspiration requirement of the crop. So based on this, depending upon the available water content soil at particular point, and to raise the soil content to field capacity, how much water is required for that can be calculated as net depth of irrigation water, means the water content at field capacity minus the current water content, that will give the depth of water to be required for the irrigation purpose. If you see the soil moisture content on volume basis. What do you mean by the moisture content on volume basis? Moisture content at field capacity, moisture content at wilting point. That can be expressed on volume basis or weight basis. Suppose we want to express the soil moisture content at volume basis or on weight basis. This moisture content, as you see at field capacity or the wilting point, these are expressed in percentage. The soil water content in percentage. The percentage soil water content that may be on weight basis or volume basis. Weight basis means now 100 gram of dry soil contains the weight of the water, that is on the weight basis, and the depth basis means 100 meter of the soil profile that contains that much of meter of water, that is on volume basis. So this soil moisture content we can express either in weight or volume basis. This example I have given soil moisture content on volume basis. It is expressed as the amount of water, millimeter of water depth present in a depth of 1 meter soil. That is soil moisture content on volume basis. For the 1 meter soil depth, the depth of water. If you see, this is the soil column, 1 meter soil depth that contains around 150 millimeter of water. The soil 1 meter profile that contains around 150 mm of water. And this 1 meter depth and the length and width, the area is 1 meter square, 1 meter on both sides, and depth is also 1 meter. And this soil, the volume, this much of soil volume contains 150 millimeter height of the water. So this can be expressed as, if you see percentage, that means now when the amount of water, that's a millimeter water, 150 millimeter is present in a depth of 1 meter soil. We can say 150 millimeter depth of water per meter of soil. This is also as a height, as a column basis, is also expressed in volume basis. And if you see the surface area, the soil moisture content can be expressed in percent volume. That means here you can see the depth is 1 meter, surface area 1 meter square. So the volume is 1 cubic meter. And if you see, this is the height of the water, depth of water 150 millimeter, or this volume, that becomes 0.15 cubic meter, because it is 0.15 meter and surface area is 1 meter square. So the volume of the water becomes 0.15 cubic meter. So in that case, so the water present 0.15 cubic meter for 1 cubic meter volume, and percentage for the 100 cubic meter, the percentage is 15%. So that is how we express the soil moisture content on volume basis. That is either the 150 millimeter or 15 centimeter per meter depth, or the percentage on 15% if surface area is 1 meter square, and that is same for the water and the soil as well, and that contains 0.15 cubic meter of water per cubic meter of the soil profile. That is around 15% water content and 15% on volume basis. Is it clear to you? Yeah, anybody has any doubt here?
Sir, how is that depth measured? Means as we go down, the water availability will also go on decreasing.
Yeah.
Then how will we come to know that we should stop here or we should continue?
We go down. No, sometimes it depends upon the water table. At bottom layer, water may be higher. Okay. So the depth means, so in a volume 1 meter of soil, in a volume of soil, how much volume of water is present? So water present in the soil profile, in between the macropores and micropores. So this is now you measure the volume of the soil moisture content based on the sensor is there, that the TDR, time domain reflectometer, that indicates for particular volume of soil how much volume of water is present. So that is expressed as the centimeter per meter depth or millimeter per meter depth. And if you see this soil profile, this contains the 1 meter the profile depth, that contains only the thickness of water is 150 millimeter, the soil profile. And the area remains same for all cases for the soil as well as water. So that talks about 0.15 cubic meter of water present in 1 cubic meter of the soil profile. So in percentage, around 15%. For this soil profile, around 15% water present on volume basis. That means the
ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్ తర్వాత పర్లేదు కొంచెం గ్రీన్ లైట్ చల్లడం బాగానే ఉంది ఇట్లా కూడా రాసుకోవచ్చు.
Yes, yeah, no. So I hope you got this one. This is the volume of the volume measurement. We use the sensor, that is a time domain reflectometry, TDR is there, that gives soil moisture content volume basis, and the expression is that as a 100 cubic meter of soil or 100 cubic centimeter of soil, that contains the cubic centimeter or cubic meter of the water in that volume. For 1 cubic meter of soil contains 0.15 cubic meter of water. So that is around 15% water present in that soil profile. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And also we can express the soil moisture content on weight basis. This is on volume basis, on the soil moisture content on as a mass basis, that means soil moisture content on weight basis. That means this state that the weight of water in gram present in 100 gram of dry soil. So if you want to calculate soil moisture content on the dry weight basis, so we bring the soil a known weight of soil, fresh soil. We can take the fresh weight and keep the soil in oven for drying. Then you can get the dry weight of soil. After the whole moisture gets lost from the soil through the drying process, we can get the dry weight of soil. And you can know from the fresh weight minus dry weight, that is the amount of water present. And based on that, we can calculate the moisture content on weight basis, means always the dry weight of soil, not fresh weight of soil. So this much of dry weight of soil contains the amount of water that can be used for the calculating soil moisture content on weight basis. That means the weight of water present in 100 gram of dry soil, that is the soil moisture content on weight basis. If the dry soil of 100 gram contains 50 gram of water, then soil moisture content is 15% on the weight basis. So that means, so how can calculate the soil moisture content on volume basis from weight basis? If soil moisture content present on weight basis, that can be converted to volume basis. If you, your question was that how can calculate volume basis? So it's very easy. In the laboratory method, you can bring the soil sample and you can measure the soil moisture on weight basis. You can bring the fresh soil samples, take the initial weight and keep in oven for drying. And once the moisture gets lost from the soil, take the final weight as only dry weight of soil. So that will give the soil moisture content on weight basis. And if you know the soil moisture content on weight basis, that can be converted to soil moisture content on volume basis. The soil moisture content on volume basis, that means volume of water by volume of soil into 100, that's fine. That gives the soil moisture on volume basis. As we explained here, moisture on volume basis, volume of water by volume of soil. This is the volume of water by volume of soil, that is the moisture content on volume basis. That is the soil moisture content on volume basis, volume of water by volume of soil. That gives available soil water. And then calculate depletion 18 minus 12.8. And this is the percentage of this one, how much percent of this one. Suppose this becomes 5 centimeter, this becomes 2 centimeter. Then 2 by 5 is the percentage of depletion. If this is 5 centimeter and 18 minus 12.8 becomes 2 centimeter, then percent depletion is 2 by 5. Of the total available water, these 2 centimeter have been depleted. Out of 5 centimeter, 2 centimeter have been depleted. That is percentage. First you try, if face problem, then I'll explain this one. Try from your own. Could you get the answer? It should not take more time.
So depletion percentage is 45.2, 40 and 38%.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, anybody got same answer, please? And net depth of irrigation? The amount depleted, the depth depleted, same amount to be irrigated.
So 199.
199 centimeter, no, it becomes very high. Well, yeah, you have done that one correct, so that must be correct one. So let me explain this one. So this is how. See, please see this. Root zone depth is given 0 to 20 centimeter, 20 to 40, and 40 to 60 centimeter. So first you need to calculate the available water in centimeter for each root zone depth. Fill capacity minus wilting point into depth of the soil 20 centimeter by 100 is percentage into soil density, ball density. That is what converted from the weight basis to volume basis. To convert the soil water content from weight basis to volume basis, so available water is the fill capacity minus wilting point. If you do this one, that becomes 3.25 centimeter for the first layer 0 to 20 centimeter. That means 18 minus 1.5 into 20 divided by 100 into soil density 1.55 gram per cubic centimeter. That gives your available water at 0 to 20 centimeter depth. Similarly, the available water from 20 to 40 centimeter depth 3.52 centimeter, and for 40 to 60 centimeter depth is 3.91 centimeter. Is it correct? Can you get this one? Could you check it? Are they fine? Once you have done this one, available water, then depletion of available water. Yes, please. Yes. Yes, do you want to say something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So once you get the available water, then depletion of available water, that is from at the time of irrigations. So from fill capacity up to this point, the water has been depleted through evaporation and transpiration. So depletion is fill capacity soil moisture content minus the moisture content at the time of irrigation. This much water has been depleted. So 18 minus 12.8 into the depth is 20 centimeter by 100 as a percentage, again to soil density, multiply soil density, that gives in centimeter. If you see this one, the depletion for different layers 1.61, 1.41 and 1.50 centimeter. This is the available water in the layer wise, and this is the depletion of water in the layer wise, and this is percent, how much percentage of this one, the water depleted, percentage of the available water, that becomes the depletion percentage of the available soil water. This is available soil water 3.25% and depletion is 1.61%. The amount of depleted in percentage of the available soil moisture, this is 49.5, 1.61 by 3.25. Well, 1.41 by 3.5. I think you made the correct this one. And the depletion, and we see the net depth of irrigations, the amount of water depleted, this amount has to be irrigated. The amount depleted from each layer, this amount has to be irrigated. If you add this one, that becomes 4.52 centimeter, that is the depth of irrigations. 1.61 plus 1.41 plus 1.5, that is your 4.52 centimeter. The depth of irrigation has to be given.
Sir, what are those values in the rightmost column of that table?
This one.
Okay, bulk density.
The
Okay,
bulk
sir.
density. The bulk density. So now,
Sir, can you explain what is
yes, please.
of irrigation?
What is? Yes, question again. Hello. Can you repeat the question?
Sir, I was asking, what does net depth of irrigation signify?
This depth of irrigation means no, once the soil is exhausted from the, because soil is dried up. Okay, that means the water is lost from the soil through evaporation, transpirations. You need to go for irrigation, right? So when the soil get dries, because the water lost from the soil through evaporation, transpiration, when you have grown the crops, and at the time of growing you have given some soil irrigations, now the moisture is optimum. Then if you after when the crop comes up, the crop grows, so there is loss of water through evaporation, transpiration in regular each and every day, and the point reaches, no, you need to irrigate. Without irrigation the crop will not survive. The crop will get death, because no, as you go to wilting point, the crop will not survive. That means you need to irrigate in between the soil moisture content, field capacity and wilting point. And when you want to irrigate, irrigation don't go for the over irrigations. Only you have to irrigate when the soil moisture, up to soil moisture reaches field capacity, but because field capacity is the maximum water available for the crop. And we need to calculate whenever the soil moisture at particular point, we don't know this is a point soil moisture, how much irrigation water you should apply, so that there should not be excess irrigations and also there should not be deficit irrigation as well. So that's why you calculate the depth of irrigation based on the current soil moisture content and based on the field capacity soil moisture content. We can go irrigation up to maximum up to this point. So this depending upon the current soil moisture content, how much the irrigation water will be required so that the soil moisture can reach to field capacity. So for that we calculate the depth of irrigation. If you supply this much of water, depth of irrigations to the field, and depending upon soil, the field size, if field size is 1 meter cube, 1 hectare or 1 acre, that is your area of the field. If you know the area and this much of the depth, then you know the volume of water required to irrigate for a particular crop field to raise the soil moisture content up to field capacity. Okay, so that much of irrigation amount volume, know how much volume of water will be needed. If a crop area of 1 hectare, 2 hectare or 10 hectare, and you need the depth is 4.5 centimeter for 10 hectare crop field and 4.5 centimeter, what is the volume of water needed for irrigation? So anybody has do you need any clarifications on this? No, they calculate the depth of irrigation water requirement. Any clarifications? Anybody has any? Because if you have any doubt, please clarify. And when the soil moisture comes to certain level, level, again we go for application. And the application depends, that depends upon how much rainfall you have received, how much, if you receive rainfall during that period, then your next irrigation may be delayed, depending upon the effective rainfall. So accordingly, you calculate how much the irrigation water to be supplied. That depends upon the water requirement of the crop, and the sources are like the water available from the natural rainfall and the soil moisture contributions. That gives you calculate the total amount of irrigation water demand, water requirement for the crop. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So my network was poor when you were explaining this ET, evapotranspiration. Can you briefly explain it once again, sir?
Yeah, evapotranspirations we do calculate. Usually in the field conditions, that's actually evapotranspiration. We go for the controlled lysimetric experiment where you have a structure of the iron frames, and all the bottoms is closed and the four walls are also closed. That is kept in the field, and the crop is grown in the field, and soil in the inside the enclosure, that layer wise soil information, that all remains same as is the natural condition. Then you grow the crops and you monitor the water loss regularly every 24 hours interval. Depending upon the facility, if you have the soil moisture monitoring systems, in case of the non-flooded crops like wheat, maize, wheat, or the potato, and for the flooded crops like rice, so you have to go for the scaling, because if you are maintaining standing water. So from that you can measure, that means purpose is to monitor the water loss in every 24 hours interval, because the other losses are regulated, because there is no seepage losses, because four sides are closed and also the bottom is also closed. So there is no loss of water through deep percolations. So whatever loss of water, that is only through evaporation transpirations. That we can monitor, we can record and the field levels through lysimetric experiment. But when we don't have this facility for monitoring, for measuring the actual ET losses of from the field, then we have other facility like we can take help of the empirical formula. Now we can take the help of the meteorological observatory. In observatory, we have the open pan evaporimeter. So there you can get the evaporation from the open pan evaporimeter, the evaporation data. That's the reference evaporations, or you can say potential evaporations. And based on that data, we can calculate what is the actual ET of the crops using the crop coefficients. So crop coefficients that different for different crops, and that varies as per the growth stage of the crops. That is available in literatures. So many literatures are available to give the crop coefficient for specific crops at different stages. Using that crop coefficient value and using the potential evaporation from the evaporimeter data, we can calculate what is the evapotranspirations for that crop, and based on that we can come to know what is the ET for particular crop, to have to know the water requirement of a crop. So this is about the calculation of water requirement. How we can calculate water requirement? Once you know, then we'll be able to calculate irrigation water, how much expected irrigation water, and that gives information. Now you have to be prepared actually for the government or any agency, the farmers know this much irrigation water may be required for my crop. So he should be, prior to that, he should have some storage, or how much the irrigation water storage that should be there to meet the need of the crop based on the rainfall and the soil profile. So in case of the water, where also the calculate the precipitations and gain minus loss and change in storage definitely. So that the precipitations, then your irrigation, the sources, the additions, and the losses are there. Losses due to runoff, losses due to deep percolations, losses due to evaporation, transpiration, the losses, and what is the balance that remains in the field, that is change in soil water content, root zone depth, and change in plant water content. The storage in soil and storage in plant, that is the gain minus loss in change in storage. So this is used also to calculate as the irrigation, how much irrigation required. This is especially for the watershed, large watershed area. They have a point where we do monitor the also evaporation, transpiration, or the runoff is there monitoring, deep percolation monitoring is there. We know the precipitations, how much irrigation we are moving, then the change in soil water storage, because initial soil water content and the final soil water content are different time scales. If you have 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months, and also this the rest can go to evaporation transmission also monitored. Then you can know how much storage in the soil, how much storage in the plant part itself, change plant water content from one point to another point. This is for the only large scale water storage, watershed areas. So we usually for field scale for the crop, we monitor this one, the water requirement for the, as a field scale. How
Excuse
to
me, sir.
Yes, please.
What is deep percolation?
Deep
Loss
percolation means no water loss beyond the root zone.
means water going to underground water.
Yeah, underground, recharging the groundwater beyond the root zone.
Okay.
That is deep percolation. Okay, so field crops will use this formula, water requirement. Also, will calculate the irrigation requirement. How to calculate irrigation water requirement? That is the we have explained here. I think this will take probably one class full, the net irrigation water requirement. Anyway, I give a brief information now, then you can discuss maybe. We'll make some numerical next class only. If I finish within 10-15 minutes, I can go for the comprehensive higher because now few students, I can take 5 students today. So when you go for irrigation water requirement, we calculate the how to irrigate the how much to irrigate. Discuss about the timing of irrigations, right time of irrigations, and the amount of irrigations, and then method of irrigations. That depends on the efficiency you are going method of irrigations, especially the time of irrigations and the amount of irrigations. We do. I hope you understand about field capacity, saturation, field capacity, and the permanent wilting point. Is not it? This idea you have probably. Is it covered in soil technology? No.
Not yet, sir.
No, sir.
Not yet, sir.
Okay. On the field, when a particular field you go on, irrigating or put the making ponding with water. That means the pore space are there. Porosity are discussing the soil pore space. The pore space get filled with water. The pore space, there may be macropores and micropores, the larger size pores and finer pores. Only the micropores are the water holding pores. They can hold the water for the crop uptake. The macropores, the larger size pores, they cannot retain water. The water present in the macropores, they are subjected to downward movement through gravitational force, gravitational pull. Those water cannot be retained. Suppose you irrigate the crop today, and maybe the macropores, they drained out very quickly. And it depends upon the 24 or 48 hours, the water present, the macropores are drained out. Only water remained in the micropores. The micropores are the capillary pores, and the water retained the micropores that can be available for the crop uptake. Macropores water is not available for crop uptake. So when you go for the fully saturation means all the pores are filled with water. All the macropores and micropores are filled with water. That is saturation point. That is what called saturations. But this is the point where water 100% water is not available. After the water present in the macropores are drained out, then soil reaches field capacity. At saturation, soil water potential is equal to 0 bar. The soil water potential is equal to 0 bar. There is no stress. Water is a free flowing. So the water is not bound with any force. Water is freely available. That's why the soil water potential is equal to 0 bar at saturation. When the soil, there is a downward movement of water from the macropores, that through gravitational pull, the water present in macropores are drained out, then soil reaches field capacity. At field capacity, soil water potential is equal to minus 0.1 to minus 0.3 bar. That means minus 10 to minus 30 kilopascal at field capacity. Saturation, the soil water potential, saturation 0 bar, field capacity 0.1 minus 0.1 to minus 0.3 bar at field capacity, and at wilting point minus 15 bar. This is the soil water potential. So at saturation it is 0 bar. The water is free flowing. That means water is not held any force with soil particle. The free movement. That's why water moves through gravitational pull, downward movement of water, then reaches field capacity. At field capacity, the soil water potential is equal to minus 0.1 to minus 0.3 bar, means is minus 10 to minus 30 kilopascal. And at this point, the water is the macropores are vacant. That means macropores are only air-filled pores. That water present in macropores are drained out, and water only present in the micropores, that's the capillary pores, at fill capacity. And at this moment, the water available for the crop is 100%. At fill capacity, 100% water available for the crop uptake, not at saturation. The question may comes, if saturation there is a higher water content, why water is not available? But why maximum water available at fill capacity? The maximum water available is at fill capacity. When the water present, the macropores are drained out. Macropores are the air-filled pores, and micropores are only water-filled pores. That is the fill capacity, and that is the 100% water available for crop uptake. Why here? Why not in saturation? Yeah, anybody? Any guess? Why maximum water available at saturation, at fill capacity, but not at saturation? Though saturation contains higher water than fill capacity.
Because the water is not stored in the soil, because in saturation point water is like actively flowing when because of the macropores filled with water. But in field capacity only micropores are filled. So
Okay.
the water which is available is 100% available for the field only. It is not going to be lost.
Now, slowly it will be lost, definitely. After when there is a transpiration or evaporation, it will lost slowly. But at that moment, the micropores are fully filled with water. Only macropores are drained out. They are filled pores at fill capacity. And that's the point where the maximum water available for crop uptake, but not as saturation. You are partially coming correct, but still something is there.
So like for proper growth of plant, you said that you need 50% capillary and 50% non-capillary.
Yes, that's correct. For proper growth of plant, you need both air and water in soil. Because if there is a full field with all the macropores are filled with water, then root activity will be less. Because for uptake of water, roots should be active. Root activity is less in case of saturation. Because the root needs aerations actually. Root needs respirations. And through root aerations, water can be taken up by the crop. That's why you might have observed many of the crops in flood situation. In flood means excess water available, isn't it? Then why do crop die in flood condition? If you irrigate a crop and make a flooding water for 2 days, 3 days, you will see there will be yellowing of the crops. The crop will die. Crop will not survive in flooding condition because though there is excess water available, but this water is not available for crop uptake because roots are inactive. Root does not get air for respirations. As roots are inactive, the crop does not get, even though there is excess water available, the crop unable to withdraw water from the soil because of the poor activity of the roots due to excess water condition. There is no air in the field. So aeration is must. Soil should have proper aerations for the water uptake, and that is the condition field capacity when the macropores are the air filled pores. That means macropores are vacated from the water. Those macropores are filled with air, so that helps the better activity of the roots, and only micropores are filled with water. Water can be retained in the micropores, and from that only the plant can take water. So that is what the condition gets at fill capacity. That is the maximum water available. But you can say the exception is rice, right? Like field crops. Rice is grown throughout flooding. So you do flooding. So rice takes water. Only those crops, only crops exception rice. Rice is grown well under flooding conditions. It does not suffer from any stress. It takes water well under flooding condition. Why? How? Do you think that rice root does not require oxygen? Yes, rice roots also needs oxygen, but rice has a special tissue in the leaf that supplies oxygen from air to the root. So there is a special tissue there in rice plant. The rice takes oxygen from the air through that leaf, and that is circulated to the root system. Root system remain active. Even there is a ponding water. So that's why rice can survive. It's aquatic plant, semi-aquatic plant, you can say aquatic plant. It can survive under standing water. It does well also under standing water. It takes air from the leaf, it takes air from the atmosphere through the leaf. The leaf accepts air and that circulates in the root system, which is not there in other plants. That's why those plants cannot survive in the standing water conditions. If you see any maize crop or sugarcane, even if for wheat, if you go for standing water in flood conditions for few days, 1, 2 or 3 days, the crop will wilt and die. The yellowing symptoms, they can't survive. So this is the point, the field capacity, where the maximum water available, where there is the only micropores are filled with water, the other pores are drained out. So as there is a slowly loss of water through evaporation, transpiration, soil gets dry, and the soil water potential, you can see that increases, and that's what when the crop reaches permanent wilting point, that becomes around minus 15 bar, and probably the water is held very tightly with that soil, and the crop unable to extract this water because root has to put the force more than 15 bar to extract water, which is not possible in case of the field crops. So in that case, the crop wilts, the permanent death of the crops. So when you go for irrigations, so we should not wait till this point reaches. That means we should irrigate in between field capacity and wilting point. That is what the range of available water. The available water range is between field capacity and wilting point. Here 0% available at wilting point, no water available for the crop uptake because the water potential is around minus 15 bar. So in that case, water is not available for uptake of the crop. At field capacity, 100% water available for crop uptake. So water available is the available water, can say field capacity minus wilting point is the water available for crop uptake. So what we do, we will irrigate in between field capacity wilting point at certain point, right time, that the critical soil water level. At that point, we should irrigate, that crops should not suffer from stress. If you delay irrigation, because this is the point where the water available for the crop uptake is exactly the evapotranspiration demand of the crop. Suppose ET requirement of the crop around 7 millimeter per day, and your water available here is around 14 millimeter, and then it is sufficient. The crop can take water. A point reaches exactly 7 millimeter water available for crop uptake, and ET demand is also 7. Then crop does well. After that, the demand is 7, but available only suppose 5 ml or 4 ml. Then there is a crop stress and the crop suffers. We should not wait up to that point. You must irrigate before this critical soil water level, and before this point reaches exactly at this point, so that the crop does not suffer from water stress. That is what the critical soil water level. The time of irrigation, so when to irrigate, so that will be discussed in details in the other semesters when you go for water management detail. But as we are briefly discussing, I would want to say this is a critical soil water level, the point at which we must irrigate to avoid any stress to the crop. If you delay irrigations, then there is a stress, there will be loss in yield. That's what I say, the critical soil water level, and this is the optimum soil water range for the better growth, for the optimum growth and development of the crop. So now, so we'll discuss how to calculate the irrigation requirement. So this I will discuss in the next class. Net irrigation requirement. So the field capacity soil moisture content minus available soil moisture content. So that I will be discussing in the next class for the soil, the irrigation requirement, depth of irrigation requirement of field crops. Okay, any question from here? Okay, so if no more question, yeah. Do you have any question? Please.
So what do you mean by hydroscopic coefficient, sir?
So this is drying, no? When after permanent wilting point, this is 15 bar. Here the soil water potential is equal to 31 bar, minus 31 bar. So in this case, if you keep the soil in the humid atmosphere, the soil can absorb moisture here. That is hygroscopic coefficient, and the water potential here minus 31 bar. Crop only we go permanent wilting point minus 15 bar, and if you still keep it drying, the soil dries up, then point reaches and that where if you give the humid atmosphere, the soil can absorb moisture, the hygroscopic coefficients. And the soil water potential here minus 31 bar, and oven dryness minus 10,000 bar, soil water potential here, where there is no moisture content in soil, oven dryness. This in detail will be discussed in your, when you go for the proper water management, irrigation water management in the other semesters.
Okay, sir.
Sir, why pressure is given negative sign?
Yeah.
What is the importance of negative sign?
This is a stress actually, this is when you have soil moisture tension 0.1 to 0.3 bar. Because here the water is held with the soil tightly. The water potential is 0 means the water is free flowing. In case of the saturation is 0 bar means the water is free flowing. There is the water is not attached to soil particle. It has the force is soil particle. It is a free water. It can move, water potential 0. The moment the soil dries, right, then there is water is held tightly with the soil. That means with this bar means this is the force with which water is held in soil particle. And if want, that means the water is drying, the water potential means the maximum. Here the water content is maximum, water content is lower. Still you go away, water content decreases. Then water potential becomes more and more negative. Are you getting?
Yes, sir, I got it.
Yeah, if you are drying, then water content decreases. Here the water content maximum, water potential is 0. Then go on drying, the water content decreases. That means the soil holds with a greater and greater force. That means you have to extract that much of force, because field capacity, the water potential is minus 0.1 to 0.3 bar, minus 10 to 30 kilopascal. If the plant has to extract water, the plant root puts force more than 10 kilopascal, and the plant draws water, because with this force the water is held in the soil particle. Plant roots put force more than 10 pascal to draw water from the soil. It's a drying condition. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this we'll discuss tomorrow. This one. So now we can close. I can ask the other few students. Those who are willing to come, they can. Otherwise, I can go same sequence. We can have 5 more students for the comprehensive viva.